Hello and welcome to the third annual RiverMasters, fished once again on the mighty River Yare near Langley in Norfolk. Once again we've got 65 of the country's best river anglers lining up to get their hands on that coveted £1,000 first prize. Let's go and find out who the runners and riders are.
Well, there's not a lot of information this year, not compared to normal, because we were only allowed to come on the river from last Thursday. It's been an extended close season this year on this place, so it's all still a little bit unknown. It's got a lovely colour in it, but the trouble is there's not been that many skimmers showing. So the pole lads have been doing the best just lately. Bob Nudd in particular, one or two others. Steve Harwood won the 3-day festival, and that was all pole fishing. So considering I've not bought one with me for 5 years, this is a little bit of a change for me. I fished yesterday and I was a little bit further downriver at Langley on 143, which is can be a good peg, but it was a bit of a struggle. The whole section was only one with 11 pound. I've had 10 pound. A lot of that was eels, so that shows you how good that was. But like I say, it's got perfect conditions for skimmers really, but there's not many showed. There's only the odd peg that seems to be throwing one or two up. So today, with a big incoming tide, could be quite a difficult day all round. I'm thinking double figures might be a good weight today. But sections at the other end of the match length will probably be the area to draw, sort of in the 60s and 70s, I would have thought. But you never know with this place. It always throws up a few surprises. What can be a bad peg on one tide's a good peg on another tide, and vice versa. So just nice to be out on the river and enjoying the scenery. Me and Bob having a day out together, and we'll see what happens. So fingers crossed.
Okay, well today I'm on peg 143. It's been a pretty good area over the years, and I can't say I'm confident of winning the match here, but I'm always got an open mind to that. It's been fished quite heavily, the river, just this last few weeks, and this area it's been okay for a few fish. I don't think it's last week Bob Nudd won the match on this peg, but that was pretty outstanding really, and of course it was the opposing tide last week. Yesterday it was a little bit hard through here. Big tide yesterday, and it will be today as well. Lots of eels running this year, so where I'd come here sometimes with a one plan feeder plan on these pegs, because they're good skimmer pegs on their day. Just the fact that there's so many eels running is making the skimmer fishing really difficult, and there's a lot of roach showing. I mean, Bob's bag last week, 26 pound, was outstanding, and there were good backing weights as well. That was on a different tide, a gentle tide, and on a nice day, you know, for fishing. Today we've got a big racing tide, which will push a lot of eels in, and it will make presentation a little bit more awkward as the day goes on, with the rising water and the increased flow. So, you know, I think it will show in the bags of fish will be slightly smaller, I think, but. I'm happy with the draw. It's a consistent area. It's been good to me over the years. So I'm starting the match with a hopeful heart, put it that way. And we'll see.
Yeah, so obviously, luckily enough, I live locally, sort of within 45 minutes of the Yare. So we've got big opens every Saturday, and obviously events like this, what Tom's organised. We've got the Bure and the Fern as well. Again, you know, matches most weekends. You know, a big mix of fishing, tip fishing and pole fishing. I personally started back up on natural venues 2 years ago now. It's the best thing I've ever done. You know, I was brought up fishing these venues, had a large time away, and like I say, decent opens, really good atmosphere. the fishing is actually exceptional. And then during the winter months, obviously we've got the drain system as well, you know, within an hour's drive. So, you know, we're very, very lucky in this region. I mean, commercial fishing for me now just doesn't interest me no more. You know, it's the atmosphere here, and like I say, the fishing, you know, roach fishing, skimmer fishing, it's got everything we need. So yeah, it suits me, and like I say, good turnouts every week, and more importantly, really good atmosphere.
As always, the RiverMasters has been very generously supported by several sponsors. And it's really great to see these companies getting behind the event once again. So every competitor has received one of these, a bag full of goodies. And inside, there are some feeders from Nisa, one of the solid and one of the cage versions. These are really popular with anglers on all rivers, but in particular the Norfolk rivers, with Nick Larkin, the man behind this brand, a former champion of this event. From Guru, we have a spool of their feeder special hooks, a brilliant bream and skimmer hook that a lot of anglers favour on rivers like the Yare, and also a free copy of Volume 1 of their Fishing Gurus DVD. From our friends at Sonia Baits, we have a bag of their So Natural Black River ground bait, a lovely dark mix that's perfect when roach fishing on rivers like the Yare. Our friends at Preston Innovations have once again pulled out all the stops. And not only do we have a spool of 010 AccuPower, a great precision high-tech line that's perfect for rigs and hook lengths, we also have a packet of their natural N30 hooks, a lovely round-shaped hook, barbed and perfect for feeder fishing for species like bream and skimmers, and also positive pole fishing where maybe you're putting a little bit of line on the bottom and looking to catch quality fish. Also, for every angler, one of their wire cage feeders. These are a beautifully engineered piece of kit. Feel lovely and smooth. Obviously, made and designed by some of the best feeder anglers in the world in the shape of the Preston Innovations feeder team. So another lovely piece of kit. And last, but by no means least, from our friends at Fuka Baits, a tube of their neons. Now, on the river this year, a lot of anglers have been having trouble with eels, intercepting natural baits like maggots and worms, and I know that quite a few anglers have been having success putting these little beauties on the hook, as it keeps the eels away and allows you to latch in to the better quality skimmers and bream.
Okay, so I've been on peg 145 today at Langley Pump. It's not an area I actually thought I could frame from today, but the way the river's fished, I've been very lucky. 146 wasn't drawn. Not sure if that's helped a great deal because that's been to my right and it's flooded in, so it's come from the right all day. Started on the pole at the bottom of the tide, caught quite well, cupped in 8 balls of ground bait, caught quite well at 5 sections, and then started to throw balls of ground bait with casters in, fishing caster on the hook. I always feed a bit of chopped worm on the Yare and used a bit of worm head on the hook as well. So as the fishing gets a bit harder, as the flood tide starts to get going, it brings a lot of colour with it. And without any bream in the river at the moment, it was better to fish for the pole for the whole match. So about halfway through the match, bites are beginning to dry up, so then I changed to maggots, came closer. Where I'm fishing, the river comes around a corner, so although the flow's fairly steady, it wants to move away from you all the time, and you've had to change your line subtly so that your rig still kept going through in the right depth of water. Otherwise it got dragged away over a deeper water and you didn't get any bites. It's been a nice day really. I've had 120 roach, well, not all roach, I've had a few skimmers. Biggest fish was probably 6 or 8 ounces. I say they've weighed 14 pound 4, which surprised me. The fish on here always weigh heavy, they're wild fish. And no one was more surprised than me when I got back to the pub and realised I'd come second. So I was a couple of pound off winning. Never would have imagined that would have happened with 14 pound with the standard of angler today, but very, very pleased with the result.
I've drawn peg 63 today, one off the M peg. I've started on ground bait feeder down the middle, just while I feed the pole line up. About half an hour on it. I've had 3 sort of 6, 8 ounce skimmers and a few little roach. And I could see Billy on the peg below me not catching much on the pole, so I've persevered for half an hour and then I finally got on the pole line. Fed ground bait and loose fed castor and hemp just slightly upstream as well. It's a slow start on the pole, but then the second hour I've started to catch up. Well, I've had a good run of fish, like fishing 5 sections to hand, a lot of sort of 3 to 4 ounce roach, but then they've dropped down the peg, and I think they've settled on the loose feed that I'm putting in, and I've eventually picked the bollo up and run down, and I've mainly fished the bollo for the rest of the match. And as the tides come in, I've gradually crept closer and closer to the bank. At one point fishing no more than 3 or 4 feet away from the bank. It's just been a steady day. Best bait's been single maggot. I've had a few fish on single caster, but it hasn't really increased the stamp. I've caught a reasonable stamp of fish right the way through the day. Ended up with 129 fish for £16. It's a fantastic venue, absolutely brilliant. I mean today the weights are pretty low for the venue really, but even so there's lots of pole weights around double figures all the way through the length. It's just full of fish. This year it's been so far more pole fishing and catching roach, but in previous years there's been lots of bream to be caught as well, so it's a lovely river. I wish it was a bit closer to home.
So there we are folks, another great match, even if a little tough by River Yare standards. But no one can deny a very worthy champion in Rob Perkins, who's gone away with not only the £1,000 winner's purse, but also another £210 for being a member of the winning team on the day. Next year, we'll be back here. And if you want to place, all you've got to do is keep your eye on the Score Fishing website for when tickets are released early in 2021. Thanks for watching.